Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Hey creatives, this is Roland here and welcome to the Writer's Creative Space, a space where you as an author or aspiring author can get inspiration, advice, tips and encouragement on your self-publishing journey. This is episode 10 and today I will be talking to you about the way you talk to yourself, especially to stop talking yourself out of writing. But before I get into that, and into the main topic, let's get into some personal news. I've been working on a children's book / activity book. The story of that is that I published my book last year and my book is titled Rise Above Fear. It's a devotional about fear. So I had this book and I remember listening to a podcast where the interviewer was interviewing a man, and the man was talking about how it's important that when we have a book, we need to see that it is not just one book, that we can make a lot of things out of one book. And then he gave this illustration about a bakery and how when someone goes to a bakery, yes, it'll be so crazy to get into a bakery and just see one thing. Let's just say, for example, you just see one donut. Of course, you'd leave the bakery, especially if you don't like donuts. But if you have a variety, then you've got more to pick from, more to choose from. And he compared that to an author saying, don't just write one book and be content with one book. First of all, your book can be many things and write a lot of books. So I had this book on me, this devotional, and I was thinking, how else can I make this book into something else? And I've been working with children for over 15 years. So the next step, obviously, for me, the idea came was write a children's book, do an activity book. So that's what I've been working on. Oh, man, there's a lot that I've done to date. I've approved the illustrations of the main characters. I've completed the story part of the book, I would say the first draft. And it's a short story, which is great. The activities are pretty much done. So even though I see that I've done a lot, there still is a lot to be done as far as editing, as far as creating the world of these characters, and then to draw in the activities into the book. And then on top of it, the wording needs to change to be more appropriate for the age group that I am targeting, which is from about, I would say 5 to 8 years old. And then the last step, of course, is to get beta readers to go through it, which I'll get probably parents and kids. So like I said, I've done a lot, but there is a lot more to be done. And the title of the book is Tim's Big Fear. And like the title suggests, the book is addressing fear in a child's life. So I will keep you updated on that project and on the progress that I am making on that project. And in other news, and this is about my other book, Delayed But Not Forgotten. I remember just introducing the book and I never shared anything else. Right now, I'd like to share more about the book. So what I'll do actually is share specifically the progress I am making on this book in my next episode, because I really want to get into the main topic. So stay tuned for episode 11, where I will be talking more about the progress I've made in my other book. So let's get into the main topic of this episode. We are talking about how we need to stop talking ourselves out of writing. Because for me, as I look at my writing journey, that is what I did. I talked myself out of writing quite a few times, not once, not twice, but regularly. My self esteem as a person, not just as a writer, but as a person, was really low. So, unfortunately, I would listen to that negative voice quite often. I remember when I started blogging over 9 years ago, especially in those initial stages with those few posts that in that first few months when I would get no likes and no follows, that seemed to give the negative voice even more ammunition for its case. And its case, of course, was that I am not a writer. So it would show me the proof, like, look, you've got proof. No one has liked your work. No one has followed your work. So give up now. So, like I said, it was rough, but most importantly, and which I really appreciate at that time, is that I kept at it. That yes, it was rough, and yes, I would trip up, but I kept writing. But then things changed because when I decided to write a book all those years back, and I wasn't as strong, like so. To write my first book, like just to give you an idea, it took me 7 years, right? And that, man, that 7 years was hectic. So in that time, I deleted my book 2 times. So yes, I wrote my first draft, read through it, and I didn't like it, and I deleted it. I didn't even work on it. I deleted it. Then stopped for a bit and then decided to write again. So I wrote again, read the draft, and I didn't like it and I deleted it. And then the third time, I lost my draft because I did not save it. So yeah, so all these things, and in that season, I then took a sabbatical from writing. Well, it is over like a year long sabbatical. And this is because I was listening to myself. I talked myself out of writing because I didn't want to be a writer anymore. So as I stepped away, I got frustrated, and it just frustration kept on building upon itself, right? So I'm sharing this story again to show you how devastating it is to talk yourself out of things that you love. And as writers, if you want to be an author, no matter how hard it is and no matter what people are saying, don't talk yourself out of it. Keep at it, especially when that inner voice, especially when that negative voice is shouting loud at you to stop and telling you all the reasons you should stop. You need to stop talking yourself out of writing, because the truth of the matter is that what you have to share, there are people who need to read what you have to share. There are people you need to impact with your words. And for me, how I got over that was, first of all, I had people who believed in me, who encouraged me, who were walking with me. And so when I fell back and when I wanted to give up, they were there and pushing me. And the other thing was, for me, is mentally, like, I didn't have any self confidence, but as my self confidence grew through the years, I would say the more I wrote and the more I would face that negative voice and block it out even more, because I really started believing that no, I could be a writer and I am a writer. So those two things, and I know there are many more, but those are, I think, the main things for me that got me through and helped me to stop talking myself out of writing. But again, let me just also context this. And it didn't take a day, it didn't take a week, it didn't take a month, it didn't even take a year. It took years, years of replacing negative thoughts with positive thoughts. It took years of getting to believe what people said about my writing, years of just letting all that assimilate into myself, like, and then getting to a point of, oh, yes, I am a writer. It took years. So I want to give you an accurate picture so you don't just think, it'll take a day or take a month. I've got this, like, especially if you're someone that struggles with a low self-esteem, if you're also struggling with talking yourself out of writing, and you may be in that place where you have these ideas for a book, or you may have started on a book and on your second book, but that negative voice is so strong that it has made you stop writing. So, like I said, you need people around you. You need those encouraging voices around you. So make sure you get those voices around you. And remember, with your positivity, replace negative thoughts with positive ones. And for me, I am a Christian. So for me, I derive that confidence, I derive that encouragement from the word of God, from going to church, from godly people who believed in me and encouraged me to keep on writing. And from Jesus, I pray, and when I'm going through things and when things are bad in my mind, I used to just fall down and pray and ask God for help. And you may not be a Christian and you listen to this, but that's my story, and that's what happened to me. And it really helped me. And where I am now is because of that. And I would even say that all those other things that I've mentioned, the people around you, your self-confidence, all those things went answered to prayer for me. So I thought I would share that. But like I said, for you, don't take for granted the power of having people that are around you, that are for you, and replace negative thoughts with positive thoughts so that your confidence can increase. And stop talking to yourself, stop tearing yourself down, stop being your worst critic, be your number one fan. If anyone should be your number one fan, it's you, yourself. Encourage what you do, all those things matter. So with that, I think I've come to the end of the episode. I don't think I've left anything out, but I would really love to hear your thoughts about the topic. How have you handled negative thoughts in regard to your writing? Leave a comment below or on my YouTube channel. If you'd like to connect with me, you can send me a message on my Facebook page or email me. All the links are in the show notes below. Please share this episode with people you know. And remember, you have something worth sharing. I will see you in the next episode.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.